Today we will be learning how to make representational Zentangles. Zentangles are a fun way of doodling to relax. Zen means a way of meditating or thinking in a calm way, giving this technique its first part of the name. The tangles are the patterns you see inside the design. Zentangling is an easy way of making beautiful, detailed images using lots of small, repeated patterns. Oftentimes, the finished artwork is abstract, meaning that it does not look like something we see in real life. But today, we're going to try making representational Zentangles. Notice how these artworks show the outline of something we recognize, but they're filled in an unusual or abnormal way. There are small designs throughout the animals. This is what we will try today. To make my Zentangle, I will be using a Sharpie and pen in this video. If you do not have a Sharpie or pen, please feel free to use a pencil or just your regular markers. Also, make sure to click on the purple box from our classroom slides where you found this presentation. Inside, you'll find lots of pattern examples that will help you on your project. I left this up on my iPad as I worked. Let's go ahead and get started. I have chosen to draw a whale as my representational image. So I'm going to draw the outline of it, and then I could add some details that will make it look a little bit more like a whale. So the water coming out of its spout, its eye, and its mouth. Notice how the whale takes up the entire paper. See, whatever you are drawing, you want to make sure that you're filling the space. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw a few details in my background, like the water and the cloud. And then I'm going to draw lines that are going to divide my larger image. So just through my whale, I'm adding like 3, maybe 4 lines that are going to help break that space up into smaller areas. Because remember, with the Zentangle, we're going to be filling these small areas with designs. Then I'm going to take my Sharpie and I will trace around the outside edge of these lines. So go ahead and take time to trace over all of the lines that you just drew with your pencil. If you do not have a Sharpie, remember that you could just use a regular marker or a pen in order to do this. I am speeding this up now just so that you can watch and then go ahead and start on your own. Because remember, we don't want to be copying what I'm doing. This is just to give you an idea. So I'm speeding up, but I am going over each of my pencil lines. And then when you get done, it'll look a little bit like this. To add emphasis to the eye, I went ahead and colored that in. All right, now I'm ready to fill all the space with small designs and do my Zentangling. Remember, Zentangling is a calm way of creating lots of designs and doodles to help fill your space. So be looking at your iPad to get ideas of what kind of designs you could use to fill in all of these different spaces. I switch up my design from one space to another. So I'm going to fill the cloud with one design, and then when I get done with that, I'll move on to a different space within the whale. I'm using a pen for this part so that my designs have a thinner line than the outline. You could use a pencil too, or your markers. So far I've used arches as a design. I've used stars. I'm doing spirals now. I also use diagonal lines. You could do vertical or horizontal lines. Those are going up and down or side to side. Little triangles or other shapes are great ways to fill spaces. So you could use little squares, small circles, or even hearts like you'll see me do next. It's almost meditative just watching me make different designs, right? So when you're doing this, make sure that you just have fun with it. Zone out, doodle, sketch. Don't think too hard about what you're doing. Just filling in lots of spaces with repeated patterns. I do not fill in my background so that my whale will really stand out. So feel free to leave your background white and just keep the designs inside of the image that you chose. And then you're all done.